Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Medifast Mondays. My name is Donna. I'm an independent Optavia coach. I'm just here to share with you some of my favorite meal hacks and some of my favorite lean and greens. So let's get started. Hope everybody's having a great week so far. I know it's only Monday, but you know, if it starts good on Monday, it can only get better from there, right? So today I am making chicken pizza crust. One time I was watching QVC. If you haven't figured out already, I'm a huge fan of QVC, and they had these pizzas on there that were made from chicken. The crust was made from chicken. I'm like, oh well, I'm not paying $50 for 12 little pizzas. I can figure that recipe out myself, which I did. So anyway, I'm going to make a double batch because typically this batch I'll get 5 crusts from it, and then what I do is I use my food sealer and then just seal up the crust and stick them in the freezer. Sometimes I go ahead and prepare the whole pizza and then seal that and stick it in the freezer. That way, you know, it's just like a grab and go. When I get home, if I get home from work late or something, I just pull that out of the freezer, stick it in the air fryer for 15 minutes, and dinner's ready. And then with it, I would serve just a salad with some, because the pizza will have healthy fats in it already. You don't need a healthy fat with it, so I would just have a salad with some tomatoes and probably some type of Walden Farms salad dressing on it, and you know, it satisfies a craving for pizza. So anyway, what I use the canned chicken breast. I get this at Sam's. Hopefully you have a Sam's Club nearby. And these are 12 and a half ounce cans. But the only thing in these is chicken, salt, and water. That's it. There's no preservatives, nothing else in it. So I prefer to use these. You can get them like at the regular grocery store, but they're loaded with all kinds of unpronounceables. And if you can't pronounce it, you really don't want it in your body. That's the way I think. So anyway, I use 2 cans of this. So it's already open and drained. You got to drain it because it's got juice in it. And then I'm just going to dump the 2 cans in my KitchenAid and just turn it on and let it start breaking the chicken up. Again, this is a really easy recipe. It's just the time-consuming thing is rolling it out. But anyway, we'll get there. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So anyway, I am going to just turn that on low. To break up the chicken. The first couple times I made this, after I got the chicken all like broken up and, you know, shredded, I dried it a little bit in the oven. So if you want a crispier crust, you can do that first before you mix in the egg and the Parmesan cheese. So I have a half a cup of Parmesan cheese. I like to use the shredded, just because that shit in a can is kind of, I don't know, talk about preservatives, you know. If that stuff is shelf stable without being refrigerated, you don't even want to know what's in it. So anyway, half a cup shredded Parmesan, right in there. And we'll get that incorporated. I always get this big thing at Winco, salad cheap at Winco. Everything's salad cheap at Winco. Okay, and then to this, now that it's mixing up a little bit, I'm going to add 3 eggs. I've tried this with egg beaters. Something about the regular eggs just gives it a better flavor and it holds together better. So if you choose to, you could use the egg substitute, but you know, for these purposes, I am just going to use regular eggs. And I'm going to crack these. Okay, and just one at a time. And let it mix well after each one. Kind of like making a cake. So anyway, I wanted to get this done today. I debated on doing this next week, but we got a heat wave coming and I'm not turning on the oven. So today it's still pretty cool. So it's a good day to turn on the oven. Okay. Here's my 3rd egg. And I'm going to be pausing this a little bit just because there's all these different steps and I don't want to waste time. You know, you don't need to watch me cut parchment paper and all that shit. So, and I'm going to try to watch my language. I don't know. I'll try. I'm not making any guarantees though, but we'll see. So anyway, this is mixing up pretty good, and I'm using my Flex Edge beater on this. If you don't have one, just the regular flat beater is fine. You don't have to make a special purchase for this. Okay, so there is that. And then the consistency, it holds together really well. Get over there. See if you can see that. See, so it's all mixed up. It, like I said, it holds together really well. It doesn't really hold together that well if you use the egg substitute, but you know, again, it's up to you. And typically I get 5 crusts out of this, so even though I use 3 eggs, each crust is not going to be a full egg, or the same thing with the cheese. So again, you'll need to figure out how to count the extra protein for the egg, and then if you want to count your cheese as a healthy fat, or if you want to count your cheese as a protein, that's fine. It's for you to figure out, not me. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I measure these. Typically, I measure it in half a cup. I get 5 out. The last one's usually a little bit more than half a cup, but you know, we'll go from there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out my parchment paper and then get this rolled out. I'll just roll it out with my rolling pin, and then so I'll get one rolled out for you guys and then show you, you know, that process, and then I'll stick it in the oven. I'm going to turn the oven on at 425. Yeah, and then they'll cook in there for about, I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes. It's usually sufficient, but you know, if you like them a little crispier, then cook them a little bit longer. It's up to you. If you like them a little moist, then don't cook them quite as long. So anyway, I'm gonna turn this off so I can get this rolled up, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I have my parchment cut out. I'm kind of just doing this. This is the only way I can get the camera angle where you can see what I'm doing. So anyway, so I've got a half a cup of the mix measured out. So I'll drop it on there, and I just kind of usually make a ball out of it, just to start with it semi-round. And then I'll cover it with another piece of parchment. Okay. And then I'll just start rolling it out. It's going to be, I don't even know what it's going to be like. That stove thing is in the way there. Okay. 8 inches, maybe? I don't know. You get it pretty thin. Just keep rolling it out till it starts to get kind of a round shape to it. And then usually what I do is I pull the top piece of parchment off, and then I kind of zhuzh it around to where it's round. But I'll show you that here in a second. So that looks like it's thin enough. So, and again, you can make it however thick or thin you want. I actually got it pretty thin. But after I roll it out, I'm going to push it kind of back together to make it round again. So, you know, if you get a little thin on the edges, don't worry about it, because it's going to get pushed back in. So I just kind of, like I said, I just kind of zhuzh it around and get it relatively round. And I always make sure that I get it small enough to where it's going to fit in the air fryer. Because otherwise, I guess you could stick this on the barbecue too if you wanted to. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. Just turn it on and close the lid, and I think it'd be okay. Well, I'm not getting it very round. It looks more Easter eggy, like an Easter egg. So I really enjoy these. It's not something I have a lot, just because, you know, but sometimes you're just in the mood for something that seems like it's, you know, I don't know, decadent. But, you know, and actually, once you get used to this, because it's made with meat instead of, you know, flour, if you do have a regular piece of pizza, it's like, oh my God, it just seems so carby. So, you know, I hope you like this. Like I said, I really like this, and I enjoy it.
for dinner, you know, once in a while. It's not something I have often because I'm going to put some processed meat on it, and you shouldn't really eat a lot of processed meat, but as long as you're not doing it all the time, it's okay. So anyway, I have the round, you know, kind of, well, semi-round. It's not going to be perfect. And then what I do is I just push it a little bit to where it makes kind of like a crust edge on it. And that way it'll hold your sauce on there and whatever else you happen to put on. And you can put whatever you want, whatever you like on your pizza. I mean, I will put on this, I'll use turkey pepperoni. I'll use a little bit of chicken Italian sausage, some bell pepper, some black olive, and sometimes I'll even put a little onion on it and use it part of my condiment as, you know, an onion. And then, of course, mozzarella cheese. So, anyway, there it is. So this is going to go in the oven. I'm going to trim this up so it'll... And usually, like, if I prepare, like, a whole pizza and just put it, you know, all the topping on it and then freeze it, I'll usually leave the parchment on there just to give it a little bit more stability. So anyway, this is what I do. I just cut it like that. And then I'll sit it on this tray. My oven's not quite hot enough. So see? You can see the little chunks of cheese in there. Ooh, and then this will get like all crispy and just, it'll be yummy, trust me. So when I measure out the next one, I'll use the one I use for the top, for the bottom, and it kind of gives me a guide too on where it goes. So anyway, I'm going to wait for my oven to finish heating up, and then I'll stick this in and I'll get back with you guys. Meanwhile, I'm going to finish rolling these out. You don't need to watch me roll all these out. And then once I get this cooked, then I'll go ahead and build a pizza just to show you guys, you know, what I do with mine. Anyway, I'll be back shortly.
Okay, so the crust I just made is now out of the oven. I managed to get, I got 5 this size, and then I made a little tiny one. This would be like a snack size pizza if you wanted. So there was a little bit too much to add to the last one, so I just decided to make a small one out of it. Anyway, yeah, this is still pretty hot. So this went in the oven at 425 for 12 minutes. See, you can see that it's very stable, okay? Kind of crunchy on the bottom. You could cook it a little bit longer too if you like your crust a little crispier. But remember, when you bake it, it's also going to do a little more cooking. So this, you're going to go by the cooked weight. So remember that chicken, the canned chicken that I had is 99% fat free. So you can use it as a lean est. So whatever this weighs, usually it weighs, well shit, let's just weigh it. See? I said I wasn't going to say bad words and I just did. So let's see. This weighs 2 1/4 ounces. So that you're going to count as 2 1/4 ounces of leanest. And then once you add all of your other stuff to it, then, you know, you just need to figure out where you are with that. But anyway, doesn't it look yummy? So I'm going to stick this on a cooling rack just to let it cool off. I've got my others in the oven. And then I'll need to stick that little guy in there too. So then this will be cooled off in a few minutes and I'll be back and we'll talk about how to build the pizza. Bye. Oh, it's still going, isn't it? Oops. There. Okay. Well, shit. Okay, so I just took my last pizza crust out of the oven, so that's all done. I got the shit turned, the oven turned off. Sorry, I said a bad word again. Anyway, it is what it is, right? Okay, so now I'm going to build my pizza. This is my crust. I'm going to add some sauce. What I use for my sauce is the S&W diced tomatoes with Italian seasoning. This has 4 grams of carbs per half a cup. I'm going to use about 1/8 of a cup. So, you know, it's not that many carbs. What I do with this is I stick it in my blender. I open the can, stick it in the blender, put just a little pinch of oregano, a little pinch of basil, and just some garlic powder just to give it a little more kick to it, and then blend it up. I keep it in the fridge in a lock and lock, and I have it whenever I need it. So Again, 1/8 of a cup is what's going to go on there for sauce. Okay, and then I would just spread that around. Let me get a spoon. I can't spread that with that. What do you think? This will work. So I'm just gonna, can you just, yeah, you can. Okay, so I'm just gonna spread this around till it gets covered, and you don't need a lot. You could add more if you want to. This is gonna count against your green. So quarter, actually I'm gonna add just a touch more just because it looks kind of light. So that was probably a teaspoon more. Okay, so there is the sauce. And then I also have weighed out 2 ounces of shredded mozzarella cheese. I just get the Winco brand, the low moisture. Just make sure you get the low moisture. This is 1/3 of a cup is 6 grams of fat. So anyway, you guys can do the math. I'm not going to tell you how to count this. You need to figure it out. Your coach can help you with that. If you don't have a coach and you need one, give me a holler. Anyway, so I'm going to just start with some cheese on the bottom. You could use less cheese too, but I kind of like mine cheesy. So, and remember, you've got cheese in your crust. So just be sure you're counting everything. Okay, count. So, turkey pepperoni. Serving size on this is 17 slices, and it's 4 grams of fat, and I can't see, the 9 grams of protein. I am not going to use 17 slices. I'm going to use probably 8, maybe 10 at the most. Again, this is processed meat. It's not something I eat a lot of very often, but you know, once in a while, it just hits the spot when you're craving the pizza. So I would just put these around 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I used 9. Okay, 9 slices of pepperoni pizza. Pepperoni. Turkey pepperoni. Jesus, Donna, spit it out. So anyway, there's that. And then the next thing I have is Italian sausage. These are the same folks that make the a chicken breakfast sausage that I used in my breakfast sausage donut thingies. I'll link that video up there, so look for that. Anyway, it's a Cernio's chicken Italian sausage. This is the mild. They also make a hot, but I don't know. I like hot. I like spicy, but I don't like spicy on the pizza. So anyway, I use this. I do like I do with the other stuff. I just cook up the whole thing and stick it in the freezer, and then I have it ready to go when I need it. 1/2 ounce. This is, sorry, I should have let you know this. 80 calories and 3 grams of fat, 13 grams of protein in a full serving, which is 2.5 ounces. We're only using 1/2 ounce. So again, you guys do the math. All right. So I'm going to spread that around on my pizza. Ooh, this is really good too. I kind of prefer my pizza now with chicken crust instead of regular old pizza crust. Whoops, get back on there. Okay, so there's that. And then I also have a small sweet pepper cut up. This is, I just buy the bag of the small ones, and then, you know, I just cut one of these up. This is a 1/4 cup. I measured it, so be sure you count that against your green. And then I just lay these around in a circle. And again, you could add some onion because you're allowed a tablespoon of onion for a condiment. If you want to add like a 1/2 tablespoon of chopped onion, that's all well and good. Black olives. Black olives can also be counted as a healthy fat or a snack. So I think I'm just going to toss a couple slices on here. Probably the equivalent of 3 olives. So just, again, make sure you're counting everything. And this is why with your salad, that's what I would have with mine. You can have whatever you want with yours, but I would just do like a simple salad with some tomatoes and some cucumbers and some Walden Farms dressing, because the Walden Farms would be a condiment. So, you know, and you don't need that big of a salad with it, because it is actually pretty filling. So there's the olives. And then, last but not least, I'm going to put the rest of the cheese on top of that thing. So, oh, yum. 2 ounces. And I like mine cheesy. So again, you could reduce the amount of cheese if you want to. It's totally up to you. Okay. So, there's that. Just trying to pick this up without spilling it. There it is. Chicken crust pizza. Yum. Stick this in the, if you have an air fryer, I would put this in, depending on whether or not it's frozen. If it's not frozen, I'd stick it in at 350 for maybe 10 minutes. If it's frozen, I'd do 350 at 15. But again, you can cook it, you know, if you don't like, you can cook it long enough to get the vegetables cooked, the peppers. But typically, you know, it's just 10 minutes to get it heated up and those cooked and the cheese melted and the cheese gets all melty and crunchy and yum, yum, yum. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this. Again, I enjoy this. I like it. And you can do, if I had the time today, I would probably build all 5 pizzas and then just run them through my food sealer, seal them and stick them in the freezer, and I'm done. Because again, I'm all about saving time. If I can do something, you know, all in one day and have me save me time for the rest of the week or whenever, it's all good, because God knows I don't have enough time in the day as it is. So, anyway, pizza crust. Let me know how you like it. Information's down below if you want to shoot me an email. I'd love to hear from you on how you like this. If there's something special that you do with your pizza that, you know, you'd kind of like to share, let me know, and I'll give you props for it. I mean, I'm not gonna, you know, say, oh well, this is my invention. If you tell me something, I will certainly give you credit for it. I don't have a problem with that. So, anyway. Hope you have a great week, and I probably will do one more video today. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but I think I will do one more. I got to take my son to work, but after that, I'll work on it. Oh. So I got the waffle bowl maker. I'm still trying to figure out some stuff. Okay, but I got to tell you, I did make on Saturday. Yes, Saturday morning. I made breakfast with this. So what I did is I put a Medifast mashed potato in here, and then made a potato bowl out of it. And in it, I put I scrambled up some egg beaters with spinach and zucchini and asparagus and some peppers, and then topped it with a little bit of cheese and some sour cream and some hot sauce. It was really good. So anyway, I'm still messing around with figuring out what to do with the bowls in the Medifast Optavia food, but I will certainly be using this a lot, guarantee it. So anyway, as I said, have a great week, and give me a holler if you have any questions. Bye.